He has become a beacon for the poor, an icon in his own country and a celebrity worldwide. 3 decades ago, Mohammed Yunus lent just $27 from his own pocket to 42 women in a Bangladeshi village. And in doing so, he began a whole new global movement. Well, that style of loan has now become known as microcredit. And Yunus's Grameen Bank has to date lent money to more than 7 million borrowers, more than 96% of them women. He received the Nobel Peace Prize last year for his work in helping to bring people out of poverty. And now he wants to go further. I'm Taimur Nabili, and on this edition of 101 East, I speak to Mohammed Yunus. You've dedicated yourself to this idea of achieving this target of reducing poverty by half by 2015. You've obviously got a great deal towards that goal on your own with your microcredit programs, with your inspiration to the rest of the world. But how realistic really is this goal?
When I began, the Millennium Development Goal didn't come about yet. I began 31 years back. Millennium Development Goals came in 2000. My effort is to see how to bring financial services to the poor people because they are becoming victims of the moneylenders, loan sharks. So that's a loan shark thing which brought me to the area of lending money. And it worked. And we tried to expand, and on the way we created a separate bank called Grameen Bank and expanded it within Bangladesh. And the idea caught on to many other countries like Malaysia. They picked it up, did it in Malaysia, and then started in Indonesia and Philippines and other countries, in the USA, in Latin America, in Africa. So that's how it is spread, all to bring microcredit facilities to the poor people.
But the idea of reducing global poverty by half is an enormously ambitious one, and not one that many people appear dedicated to. Again, do you think it's a feasible target?
When that decision was taken at the Millennium Summit in the United Nations, I was very excited. For the first time, all global leaders got together, adopted a resolution to set a date to reduce poverty by a certain number, by half, by a certain date, by 2015. I don't think in human history people have paid so much attention, so much commitment than what the Millennium Development Goal has done. It is doable. That's what I've been saying all along. This is doable.
But is the commitment there from all the other governments who gave it lip service? Have you seen them come through with real action?
Yes. After it was adopted, after all, they have adopted it. So it became a commitment for the United Nations system. Every country goes around, repeats this. Whether they really put their heart behind it, that's something else. And that was my complaint. I said, look, you made the decision, you made the whole headlines in all the newspapers, you got your applause, and you went back to do the regular thing, what you always did, rather than pay attention to it. And I encourage the media to bring it up, draw attention. You have your commitment, you have to do it. So some way it is come and go. Sometimes they draw attention, sometimes they don't. But there's a monitoring system which goes on to see who is doing what. Some countries are right on the dot achieving Millennium Development Goals. Some, there are 8 goals. On some goals they are doing well, on some goals they are not doing well. Like in Bangladesh case, Bangladesh is one of the countries which will probably make all the 8 goals. Particularly number 1, reducing poverty by half by 2015. All the years, like the 7th year today, we are precisely on the dot, doing well on reaching that goal by 2015.
So we're on target?
We're on target. Bangladesh is on target.
Only Bangladesh?
No, I'm saying, I'm giving example of Bangladesh. There are many other Asian countries who would make it. But not all African countries will make it. Some of the countries will come close, some of the countries will make it, but many countries will not make it. So we need to do a lot of more attention in African situation, because this is the midpoint between 2000 and 2015. We are right in the middle. So we need to kind of stock taking and see where we are and how to expedite the things which we didn't do before.
Has the Nobel Prize helped you in this? In raising the profile of this goal, of giving you a bigger voice in trying to achieve it?
The prize itself raised the profile, not me. The fact, why did he get it? What did he do? So everybody's looking at it. Why aren't she doing it? That's all everybody's asking. So the prize itself raised this whole issue, and particularly a Nobel Peace Prize for poverty reduction. People say, is this a peace? How is it related to the peace? And they made a very good statement. They said reduction of poverty brings closer to the peace. It enhances the chances of peace. So, poverty is a threat to the peace. So all these issues now is in the limelight because of the prize, and people want to understand and also review what they're doing. I think Nobel Peace Prize definitely has raised the issue in the consciousness of all the people.
You are a doctor of economics, of mainstream economics. You were also a banker, albeit a slightly odd banker, if you like, in a way. What you're bringing to the table, though, is a methodology, a conception of economics and poverty reduction that is very much at odds with the mainstream of economic doctorates that come out of universities these days. Are you not meeting with a great deal of skepticism from the other banks, from the financial system, the people who think that the market is here simply to create surplus and not to help poverty?
If you had asked me what are the obstacles as I go along, what do I see, I would have said mindset is my obstacle. Mindsets, people believe in a certain way, in the theories, in doing things, in policies. You hardly can change, even if you can practically demonstrate something that it works than what they are saying. But still they will not change their mind. That's where the theoreticians, mainstream economists and all those come about. So it takes a lot of time to work through them, to see the things. That's why it's a slow process in bringing microcredit as fast as we would like to do.
But you're doing something reasonably ambitious in saying that there is an economic model that will fit into things like poverty reduction, a goal that really has not a great deal to do with the economic financial model that we all work with in daily life. Surely people say to you, look, this is the job of governments. The kind of welfare systems that you're propounding is not the job of the market and the mainstream financial system.
Then you come and show a woman who take a loan, bought a cow, sold the milk, paid back the loan from the sales proceeds of the milk, and by the end of the year she paid back entire money with interest, and she has a cow and a calf for herself. So that's a very definite goal. What she has done something, she knows all she did is to borrow money to buy the cow, and she has cleaned it up. Now she is one step up in terms of asset holding, in terms of income. People understand that very well. I mean, there's no argument. The question is, can everybody buy a cow? Why should they? I mean, cow is an example. Somebody will raise chickens, somebody will do basket making. Today, something like 120 million borrowers of microcredit are taking money and paying back. So there are enormous varieties of these examples. So this is not something debated. Debating how fast we can reach out to all the people in the world who are rejected by the conventional banking system into the financial services. So that's the question, how to do it. And you don't do it by losing money. You recover
when you
your
put it
cost.
like that, it seems so simple. And
It
yet
is simple.
we've had decades of economic growth and financial models which have not resulted in a reduction in poverty, not only in the countries that you're speaking of, but in the developed countries too.
I can't argue with what happened. I can say, does it make sense to you? Anybody say it's simple, it makes sense. So if it is simple, doesn't mean it's wrong. Simplicity is not an offense. The reality is very simple. Somehow our mind works in a complicated way. We want to make it complicated so that others don't understand. Sometimes we make it so complicated we don't understand ourselves. So go to the basic, go to the simple thing and address it in a simple way. It gets solved. That's what we did, and anybody who will listen to our procedures, the way we do it, seems very reasonable. I would have done the same way.
Is this a process only for the non-developed countries, or what about the poor people who are within the richest countries in the world?
Same. When I say it's all over the world, it includes the United States, it includes Canada, it includes Europe, it includes every rich country that we can think of. There are more than 700 microcredit programs in the United States dealing with people who are on welfare, not going any place, trying to get them out of welfare. So this is everyday experience right now. There are programs in all over France, microcredit programs, reaching out to, again, welfare recipients, immigrants, and all sorts of gypsies. And in Norway, there is no immigrants, no gypsies, nobody. But there's regular people of Norway who needs financing, but conventional banks don't go up to them. So they need a financing, and this is where it worked out.
So what next then for you? I mean, you've spent 30 years developing this model, making it a success around the world. You've been rewarded for your efforts and given it an enormous profile. Where do you go now?
Well, I don't have to decide where do I go. I'm going where I wanted to go. This is not a stopping point or a station for me. This is simply a recognition along the way. This is a good idea, it helps, and so on. So the ultimate goal is to, as I said, expand the financial system in a way nobody is rejected from that system, saying that you are not good enough for me to do business with you. So that kind of thing, an inclusive financial system. And ultimately to see all people get out of poverty. This is one intervention. There are many other interventions needed to be done in helping poor people get out of poverty. But the fact that the important point that I keep raising, poverty is not created by the poor people. Poverty is created by the system we created. So there's nothing wrong with poor people. They are as good as any other people. They are as creative, as enterprising, as hardworking as you can think of. So why they are poor? Because the system we created in such a way, they are pushed into it. So we have imposed poverty on people.
Let's pause there for a break if we might. You're watching 101 East in conversation with Mohammed Yunus of Grameen Bank. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.